What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another brand new review for the Braxtons Season 1, Episode number 3. This episode is titled Family Matters, you guys. Now, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. And you guys can me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, posting, sharing the video, liking, likes, comment, share, and subscribe. And with that out of the way, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode of the Braxtons, shall we? All right, guys. So this episode, it was a good one. It wasn't so sad and in this episode. So I enjoyed this episode. Now the episode opens and we see Trina, Tawanda, and Miss Evelyn. They met up with each other for lunch, right? Now while they were sitting down, Tawanda got a phone call from little Kevin, and turns out little Kevin was in jail. I was like, damn. So he was found out that he was charged with failure to appear. I did see some people last week on social media making comments about, oh, it must have been his daddy who called the police on him. No, I never got it that it was his dad. I really got the fact that it was his wife Olivia. And in this in Tawanda's interview, Tawanda said that this divorce is messy. And I was like, I don't know how people got it that his dad would call, like, why would his father call the cops on him? Like, it makes no sense to me. But hey, it is what it is. I've also saw a lot of people make think pieces about Tawanda and thinking that Tawanda is somehow jealous of Tamar. I don't think that that's what it is. I just think that she's at a point in her life right now where she might not see it for her little sister. And that's just probably what it is. It's a lot to deal with Tamar. Let's be real about the situation. Like, but that's neither here nor there. So they also did talk about the night before. Trina says that she wants to see Spirit on a regular occasion, and Tawanda was like, I think you should see her a lot, and she said it's not me being shady or anything of that nature. And so Tawanda felt like in it that they were being honest. Do I agree with that they were being honest? I think I don't know how I feel. If I do believe that they were keeping. I don't know if I believe that they were being honest, because what I will say is they make. Here's the thing about them about honesty. I do think that they were being honest about certain things, but I also think that they were holding things back as well. That's my personal opinion, right? So Miss Evelyn feels that they are not really honoring Tracy because Tracy wanted them to all get along. But the thing that I will say is, it's like they weren't like even before Tracy passed away, there were still issues in the relationships with their sister. So it's not like everything was just hunky dory, right? But I also will say that Miss Evelyn is talking about the fact that you know they wear Tracy's they wear Tracy's necklace, but they're still not getting along with each other. And here's the thing: just because you're family, don't mean that you always gotta like your family. You love your family, but it don't mean that you always gotta like them, want to be around them, and things of that nature. When you set boundaries with your people, you set your boundaries and keep your boundaries. That's how I feel, right? And Miss Evelyn also feels like I just said a few minutes ago. She said that she felt like there was a wall up with Tamar, Tony, and Tawanda. Now, do I agree that a wall was up with Tawanda? Not 100%. And I'm gonna tell you guys why. Because you guys remember with Tawanda, Tawanda explained how she feels about death. Like she feels that Tracy might not be here in the physical realm with us, but she does still feel that Tracy is still here with us in some capacity. And To an extent, I do believe that because there are times that I will say that I do feel like my mom is still here with me and my grandmother's still here with me, right? So, you know, I kind of get it. I kind of get it, but I don't think that Wanda had a wall up. I feel like mostly Tracy, not. I feel like mostly Tony and Tamar had a wall up. Tamar didn't even really want to interact with it because she's already gone through her process. But you could also go through this. I mean, these are your sisters, but neither here nor there. That's all I gotta say. Now we move over to LA, and Tony's out there meeting with her manager. You guys know that she's doing the Vegas residency with Cedric the Entertainer, right? So they're just going over everything, and Tony is asking them how are they going to make this easy for her with her health issues, right? And wow, when you think about everything that Tony has going on, because she even named it in her interview, we know about her lupus, her heart issue, and then she has some issues with her blood. And I was just really sitting here thinking, it's like, with all those health conditions, Tony, should you actually be doing this? But her manager, them, they were basically telling her, like, all we're concerned about is your health. We want you to be on this earth for a long time, right? And if we see fit to say, hey, let's stop the show, we're gonna stop the show. And I was like, okay, I'm here for that. Like, I like that. Put your artist and your talent first. Forget all of the other bullshit. Just put her first, right? So then after that, we see Tamar and Miss Evelyn. They're doing a cooking show on Clio TV, which I have never heard of that. Have y'all heard of Clio TV? I ain't never heard of it. But congratulations to Miss Evelyn for doing this cooking show. Now, honestly, I would have thought Miss Evelyn would have done the cooking show with Trina and not Tamar. That's just my little 2 cents. I would have thought she would have done it with Trina and not Tamar, but I've never heard of Clio TV. Never heard of it. Have you guys? Again, I'm asking the question. Have you guys heard of Clio TV? Like, is it a streaming service or is it like on cable? Is it streaming? Is it on cable? Is it on YouTube? Like, I've never heard of Clio TV. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Is it something that's brand new? Oh, it's so there's an app because I'm looking it up as I'm talking to you guys. Okay, so there's a channel and an app. Okay, shout out to them though. For real. Shout out to Miss Evelyn. Shout out to Miss Evelyn and to Tamar. Now I wonder if Tamar is behind production on this because I noticed in this episode that I finally watched the ending credits of this episode, and I see that all the girls have EP credits. Tamar's production company is behind this, so I'm like, okay, cool. So I was wondering if she was there behind it, if her production is behind this. So then Trina came and joined them, and it was good to see. It was good to see. So after that, we see a scene with Tamar and Miss Evelyn. So they sat down and had a conversation, right? And Miss Evelyn is happy to have her cooking show. And Tamar talked about writing a book about her life and therapy. Now, I ain't gonna say that y- after what happened with Tamar last week, right? I have a little bit of a proverbial side eye for her. We're talking about her sisters and making, in my personal opinion, making a mockery of mental health. I just, she's talking about she's gonna stay in therapy like a person who is addicted to alcohol goes to AA, and I'm here for that. I'm cool with that, right? But like I said, just last week, you made a whole entire mockery, in my personal opinion. You guys may or may not agree with me, and that's fine if you guys disagree with me. But to me, it felt like Tamar was making a mockery of mental health. It really, truly did. But hey, again, shout out to Tamar. Good luck with the book. Will I buy the book? Absolutely not. I don't. I don't think I could get anything from a Tamar book And that ain't no slight, no shade to Tamar. I just don't think I can get anything from her book. Period. Point blank. That's all I gotta say. I don't think I can get a thing from Tamar's book. But if anybody, let me know. Keep me updated with the book. And that's all I gotta say. But like I said earlier, congratulations to Miss Evelyn on the show. Tamar was talking about they only had 3 more episodes left to film for their cooking show. And that was really all we got with Tamar this episode. Very little Tamar in this episode, and I was honestly kind of happy with it. Now we move back over to Tony. So Tony is rehearsing for her show, and she's doing a lot of dancing in the show. And again, I was like, is this not is this strenuous for Tony? I had so many questions, and I was just so concerned about Tony. But Tony looked. What I will say is Tony looked good. I was like, oh my god, y'all just don't understand how what it is. I just loves me when I tell you guys I love me some Tony Braxton, baby. I loves me some Tony Braxton, and Tony looked the fuck good. She looks good. So after Tony finished with rehearsal, she went outside and she got a phone call from Tawanda. So she and Tawanda, they're talking, and Tawanda is telling her that Trina is going to be seeing Spirit on an ongoing basis, which is I think is good for Trina. Then she also talked about the fact that Tony needs to see somebody. And I think here's the thing. When it comes to the girls, I think every last one of them would benefit from having individual an individual session with someone. And also I do think I think it's a good idea that they do have therapy as a family. I actually think that, but it just depends on if everybody's going to participate because they're so closed off. But they talked about that. They also did talk about what else did they talk about? They talked about little Kevin. He got out of jail, but he didn't tell Tawanda. He hasn't reached out to Tawanda. So Tawanda told her that she and Trina they're going to be going out to L.A. Not going out to D.C. and checking on little Kevin, right? So then after that we see Trina. So Trina sat down with Spirit again, right? And so, she's telling Spirit like she still has some work to do. So Spirit wanted to get into a little bit deeper with Trina and asked her, like you say when you go to sleep at night, when you close your eyes, you see things, right? And it's not like just one thing that she sees. It's like it's like a kind of like a movie that she sees, right? And so Spirit wanted to ask her, so tell me what are the snapshots that you're seeing? And Trina didn't want to go into it, and I agreed with Spirit. She was like, if you want me to help you, Trina, then you're going to have to be open and honest about those things. And listening to Trina talk, I can tell you guys what Trina's seeing because like I told you guys last week, Trina's story is very similar to my story because when my mom passed away, I I I couldn't like for the first 2 months I didn't sleep at all. Couldn't sleep. Didn't even want to go to sleep. Like I hated closing my eyes to go to sleep at night, or even during the day. Like I could not sleep because in my head so many things played. And my story is not exactly similar to Trina's, but it's I had a lot of guilt and a lot of blame that I felt, right? Because with my story, I often wondered what could I have done differently? Like I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. I should have did this. Like I had so many what if questions and I could see those scenarios playing out in my head, and those scenarios kept my mom here a lot longer for me. And I know it's selfish for me to I know now that at that time it was just selfishness for me to want her to be here. And I think it was ultimately what God intended and wanted to happen. I still don't know why, and I still don't 100% agree with it. But the person today knows better than the person that was there 7 years ago, right? But when I would close my eyes, I would see so many different things that I just did not want to continue to see. And that's exactly what Trina said. Now, Trina also did say that, all this stuff for her didn't start with, because Spirit asked her, did this stuff start, with Tracy passing? And she said, no, it actually started with Gabe's passing. And I will say that it kind of set me off a little bit hearing her talk about how Vaughn was after Gabe died. He wasn't really here for her grieving the loss of Gabe. And I think that is so that's a lack of that's insecurity, because Gabe was part of Trina's life for years. That was her ex-husband. He he was, he was there for her kids. So for you to feel any kind of way about her grieving that man, it just speaks more to you. And I just really truly did not like hearing that. Like, that kind of aggravated me and pissed me off a little bit, because I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, you got in your feelings because the woman was grieving the loss of her ex-husband? Sir, grow the hell, like, grow up. You too old for that shit. But neither here nor there. But they ended the therapy session, and so then we see as Trina. Well, actually, before that, Trina was talking about how she feels like the sisters are, basically drifting apart. You definitely are. And then after that, we see Trina. So Trina is at home packing. So it's going to be she, Vaughn, um, Tawanda, as well as Sean, that are going to be going to go to DC, right? So Vaughn wanted to talk to Trina about her therapy session, because when she came back, she was off to herself. Now, here's what I will say. I get, I have two feelings when it comes to this, right? I was happy that he asked her what happened in therapy session, but I also felt like that's something that you can see that she's still really having a hard time with. So why are you pushing this? Like, I had so many mixed feelings with that particular scene. Like, I got him being a supportive husband, but I also felt like being a supportive husband is being like, saying, hey Trina, I know that you had a session with Spirit. I don't want to pry into what happened in the session, but I just want you to know that if you want to talk about it, if you need anything, let me know. Like, I think he should have done something like that, because it just, to me, it didn't feel right. But that's my personal opinion. You guys let me know how you feel. She also did tell him what Tony revealed to them as well. And then, we ended that scene. So we move over to Tawanda. So Tawanda is calling Lil Kevin, but his phone, I don't know if his phone wasn't going to voicemail. That phone was off. So she went to go pick up Braxton and Brooke. My God, they have really grown up. They are 17 and 18 years old. I remember when Braxton Family Values first started, and they were little bitty kids. They are young adults today. Like, wow, how time really flies, right? But Tawanda let them know that she's going to be going out to, DC to check on Lil Kevin. They wanted to go with her, but she was like, y'all got school, y'all got midterms and this stuff. And they were like, we've already taken the midterms. And so Tawanda got home. And what I will say is, the one thing about this new iteration of this show that I'm not necessarily a big fan of is the fourth wall. Like, they show everything behind the fourth wall. And I'm not that, this is just something that we ain't used to seeing in reality TV. Like, we see them setting up the scenes, we see them ending the scenes, and it just feels a little weird to me. Maybe it's just, and it could just be me. It literally could just be me. But you guys let me know what you think. So then when they wrapped the scene, one of the showrunner came up to Tawanda and told her that they had little Kevin on the phone. So little Kevin said that they still had his phone when he got out. So he doesn't have his phone. So that's the primary reason why he hasn't been able to contact them. And so Tawanda let him know, like, hey, me and your aunt Trina, we're gonna be coming out there to check on you and your grandfather and your uncle Mikey. And that was the end of the episode, you guys. This episode, like I said, much better than the first two because we got out of this. We just got. I know it's going to be stuff that we deal with them is talking about Tracy, and I'm okay with it. But it wasn't. This episode wasn't so heavy, and I didn't spend this episode crying because the last two episodes I have cried with each and every one of them. But this episode I didn't cry. I actually laughed a little bit because I definitely laughed at Trina and Tawanda when they were talking to Miss Evelyn when they went out to eat, and she was talking about that they were supposed to pay for her lunch, right? And she's like, because she was gonna tell Tony, and Tony would call her, and then Tony would call them, and they were like, "Why would you tell Tony?" She's like, "Because I want to tell Tony." And they said snitch, and then Tawana said snitches get stitches, and Trina was like, "That ain't something you want to tell your mama," and they just laughed. But yeah, this was a good episode, you guys. Like I said, I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, you guys. And until next time, stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.